guys, welcome to Weight Loss Basics. I'm Amy Bush. I'm the general manager here at Octane Fitness Center. And we're going to talk a little bit about some tips and tricks for weight loss. We're going to start with some mathematics, and then we're going to go into a little bit of diet, some other things that you may think don't attribute to weight loss, but that is very important. It's a combination of all these things that go into your weight loss journey. So one big thing, first off, is remember that we didn't get quite to where we are today overnight, right? So the expectation to lose as fast as you can is also just a reality check. We can't get there overnight, right? So it's all these little bitty bits of investments, just like you do into your savings or your retirement. It's these little investments that we make every day, right? We put it into the account, we put it in so that it grows, right? So same thing with weight loss. We invest in those little habits like eating less sugar, eating less junk food. We invest in making time for ourselves, doing those workouts. We invest in sleep, getting enough sleep. We invest in stress relief, meditation, yoga, things like that. Making all these small investments every day to eventually, right, just like our retirement or that savings account, to make a whole large sum of the goal that we're trying to obtain, right? Just like weight loss. So to start off, we're going to start off with some mathematics. I am not a math person, but this does make sense. So if you're taking notes, I'll give you the little bullet points that you can write down. But 3,500 calories. Have you ever heard of that number? 3,500 calories is how many calories it takes to burn 1 pound of fat. So say that our BMR, which are basal metabolic rate, so say for me, just an example, is 1,500. That's kind of the generic calorie metabolism that we give for different people. You can also go online and do your own BMR calculations or calculator. You can look that up. I think active.com has one, but you can find that very easily. And you can put in the specifics for you. But today we're going to say that I'm a 1,500 calorie expenditure for myself. Basal metabolic rate. Basal metabolic rate means for your metabolism at rest. So if I were to sit in bed, do nothing all day long, my metabolism, that energy expenditure, is 1,500. So if I were to eat 1,500 calories, I would stay right at the same. This is not working out, anything like that. Now, once you add in your workouts, that's always going to be a negative, right? That's always going to be taking away calories. As we put in food, that's our intake, right? Calories. So what we suggest is 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of weight loss is healthy weight loss a week. Yes, it takes time, like I said, small investments. Because what we see is if we do a drastic diet, we lose 7 pounds in a week, 5 pounds in a week. Are we more likely to keep that off later in the long run? Probably not, because it's not sustainable. It is a diet. A diet is a quick fix. It's not a lifestyle change. We're looking for those lifestyle changes so that we can ease into that weight loss and continually keep it going throughout that year instead of a crash course diet for 3 months or bikini detox. You know, these are things that are unrealistic. We've got to look at our body, what it needs, nourishing that body, that 1,500 calories, and that way we can lose weight, whether it's through going down a little bit in our intake or exercise or both. So if we look at that 3,500 calorie deficit for the whole week, that's 1 pound of fat, we're looking at 500 calories a day. So if you burn 500 calories a day, 7 days a week, there's your 3,500 right there. It can also be a combination of 300. Say that you burn 300 on the elliptical one day, and then you take 200 away from your calories that day, which is more realistic. We don't want to take away 500 or, whatever. If there's more for you to lose, we could look at that a little more, but we don't want to necessarily take away from the fuel, because the fuel is what is energizing that expenditure. So if you have that 500, whatever it's made of, each day, times 7, there's your 1 pound a week. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense. All right, so next one, after mathematics here, that was our math lesson for today. Remember, you can always contact us, email us if you have questions about anything. We will be glad to go over it with you more in depth. We can also set up a personal coaching session, which is free. It's just you guys calling in and us talking about your goals, being more specific to what your journey is, your weight loss goals, and then kind of working with your schedule, things like that. Again, it's free. Why not take advantage of it? So next one is keep yourself accountable. Doing weigh-ins and check-ins with yourself, finding an accountability partner like some of my staff or a friend or coworker or husband or wife, partner, family member, having someone to be accountable, because if we have that, we're more likely to show up, right? We're more likely to be accountable to that person. When we do it by ourselves, some people are motivated intrinsically, like myself, to do things on my own, but other people like to have a partner with. They don't want to let them down, right? And that's where it's a very big win, is by having that accountability partner. So doing weigh-ins, but not weighing in every day. I'm talking to my females out there who like to step on that scale every single day, right? Please, if you can take away one message from this, stop stepping on a scale every day. Females, we have a cycle, most likely, or menopausal, there's so many hormones that fluctuate in our day-to-day lives where we are throughout the month that can make us heavier or lighter, retain more water or not. It's a mind trap to be stepping on a scale every day, because if you go and use the restroom, you might be completely different. So I suggest weighing, if you have to, once a week. Make it at the same exact time, so say 9 a.m. on Saturdays, 10 a.m. on Saturdays, and then do that. Check in there. That way you're not in a mind trap of, oh my gosh, I gained, oh my gosh, I lost, I gained, I lost, whatever. You need to see over the long run. Okay, so 6 to 12 weeks is when you should start to see some changes. And instead of that scale, start to see how you fit in your clothes. Are those jeans, those skinny jeans, are that belt notch that you were at in your pants for my males? Have you been able to go down a little bit? What we want to do is focus on that waist area. If you'd like also measurements, I'm not a measurement or number person, but if you do, you can also do measurements, do all on your right side. You can do your arm halfway through, your waist, the inch above your belly button, your hips, widest part of your hips, and then on your right side also the mid part of your thigh. So there's measurements that you can do there also. Again, like I said, don't get crazy with it. You have to let it go. Do not measure yourself every day. It's just a negative mind trap, all right? There's too many fluctuations day to day, hydration, bowel movements, things like that, that could really throw you off. So let go of that scale. Put it away. Check in maybe once a week. And then, like I said, seeing how you fit in your clothes. Another way to stay accountable is setting up sessions in your Outlook calendar. So Heather talked about this in that building your own workout. Using a calendar. I have a calendar that I bought off of Amazon. It hangs on my wall. I write my workouts on it every single day. So I write basically not every single set, not every single exercise. I'll say arms and glutes, or chest and tris and glutes. And then I'll say 30 minutes on the bike. That way I'm accountable to getting in my cardio and my strength. I know that I've worked out. If I see a week that I've slipped off, okay, we restart the next week. Don't get in such a mindset of, oh my gosh, I wasn't perfect last week. We're human. Let that week go. But you have to say, I'm going to restart this next week. This week is new for me, and I'm going to do my goals. If you are used to exercising 0 times a week, guess where you should start? Once or twice a week. Do not get in the mind frame of, I need to work out 5 times a week. Okay, yes, eventually. But you have to meet yourself where you are currently, what you're working out, what does your routine look like, and then you have to build from there. I've told this to several clients before. You can't just expect to go from 0 to 60, right? We want to get to our goals, but again, it's a lifestyle change. It's a smooth transition. It's not, hey, I'm going straight for 5 or 6 or 7 times a week. I'm not going to give myself a break. You're going to crash, right? You got to make that smooth transition into increasing your workouts, working on your food, same thing, diet, little changes to eventually get you there. All right? So that's just a couple of things about accountability. Next one is maintain your muscle mass. Maintain that lean mass. A lot of people get into that cardiovascular, working out, running every day, all of those things. We want to make sure, and another reason why you should not just be checking in that weight every day, because that weight on a scale tells you one whole number. It doesn't tell you what that number is made of. That number is made up of hydration, so water weight. It's made up of lean muscle mass and fat mass. That's where you get your body fat percentage. You take that fat mass and divide it into your total body weight. That gives you your percentage, right? So when we step on that scale, again, that's another thing. We don't realize if you're doing strength training, you're going to gain lean mass, okay? And that's why sometimes the scale may go up first. All right, especially if you're doing strength training and cardio, which you should be doing. You should be trying to maintain that muscle mass because that muscle mass is what is responsible for that metabolism, right? So the more lean mass you have, think about, I have smaller arms, okay? I haven't been working out yet. I go to move this box here. I go to walk my kids in my stroller. Things like that I'm doing every single day, right? We'll talk about NEAT in just a second. But using that muscle mass is burning calories, right? That's responsible for that 1,500 that I explained earlier, your metabolism. So when you break it down, you get more lean mass. You start working out, doing strength, HIIT intervals, doing our classes, and your muscle mass goes up, your tone goes up, right? When you start to move those things, again, I move that box, I take that thing down, I go to walk my kids. Again, the expenditure is going to go up because you have more lean muscle mass now on your body, more calories burned, because that muscle is always burning calories, right? Because we're doing things. So the more lean mass you have, the higher your metabolism will be. So again, another reason why we should maintain that muscle mass. Also, it's important to, as we age, keep that muscle mass on because over time, we lose that muscle mass as we age. So that's why it's very important, especially as women for osteoporosis purposes, to keep that resistance training going so that we have that support on our bone, on our skeleton system, so that that muscle supports the bone and the bone doesn't start to break down and become fragile. Okay? So NEAT, like I said, have you ever heard of NEAT, N-E-A-T? So NEAT is a non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So like I said, taking my kids for a walk, taking something out of the cabinet, painting my house, gardening, yard work, cleaning out your car, washing your car, vacuuming, dusting your furniture, standing even, is NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So making sure that we drive that up. All right, so when we go home, which we're probably already home, we're doing projects around the house. We're not coming home, we're not sitting down, watching TV, tuning out, which is so easy to do, and that's okay to do. But let's make sure that we are mindful of that time that we're expending, because we're most likely sitting down and working all day, right? So maybe getting a standing desk, working from a counter space at home. Finding ways that we can stand, taking breaks throughout our workday so we can go take a walk. That's also great for mental health, right? So we'll talk about that also coming up. But making sure that we're staying active throughout our day, whether we stay accountable to a 10,000 step, if you have a pedometer, that's a great goal to keep yourself moving because we got to hit those steps. So that means we got to be up, we got to be moving, we got to be doing those projects, things like that. But just increasing that each day is something so small that in the end, again, will burn calories. It may not be exercise now. We still need to try to get in exercise. But we are still staying moving. We're not sedentary. We're not feeding into tapping out and tuning out for the rest of our day when we can be burning calories still just by moving around. So taking family walks, things like that, going to the playground, but just not just sitting down and tuning out. So again, that's another way that you can work on weight loss that is very simple and adds up after time. Just a small little mindful change in your day-to-day life, especially later in the day and on our weekends when we tend to chill out a little bit more. Try to stay moving. Try to find projects to do. Clean your house. I know I can always clean my house a little bit more. Clean a closet. Yeah. Next one is sleep and stress. So sleep and stress. This is something that if you've got all your ducks in a row with weight loss, you've got your diet in check, you've got your cardio and your strength in check, you've got your flexibility, your yoga in check, sleep is where it might be a problem. And a lot of times we say, okay, well, I sleep for about 7-8 hours. Okay, but is that restful sleep? Or do you feel like you're waking up and you're renewed during your day? Do you feel like you actually rested? So looking into that, are you getting a good sleep cycle? Studies say that, a 2008 study says that if you got deficient sleep, that's 7 to 9 hours, it showed that obesity in adults were 55% higher. So that's where sleep really comes into play, because that's our time for our bodies to rest, to recover, regenerate, is that sleeping time. So ways that I've found that help me with sleep is doing a devotion or meditation at the end of my day. You guys have access to Headspace. There's also Calm that are both apps. Amazing. I feel like I sleep 100% better when I do a meditation before bed. And sometimes I do that laying in bed and I fall asleep. But sometimes I'm also sitting in a space, quietening my mind, and then going to bed after. So doing a routine devotions, prayer, whatever it is for you, reading a book simply also is a great way. Coloring, adult coloring, to kind of make the mind wind down. And again, getting in a routine of this will be much more helpful than doing it here, maybe there, whatever. Getting into that routine will signal to the body like, hey, it's time to relax. Also taking away devices. We know this, right? Taking that away, that light, so that we can calm ourselves down. So also stress. Stress is another thing. If we don't have stress under control, our cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone, is going to be out the roof. So we want to make sure that we have that space for meditation, going on walks out in nature, things that we enjoy that calm the mind and that relax us so that we're not stressed. Okay, so again, meditation, yoga, Tai Chi, also great ways to lower the stress level. So make sure that sleep and stress, the two S's, are under control. That will help with weight loss as well. Oh, here's another S. Sugar. Ooh, sugar, man. We are addicted to sugar in this country. So looking at cutting back added sugar. Okay, what's some added sugar? I don't think I have to really explain this, but candy, soda, fruit juices. Yeah, fruit juices seem like a great way to just healthy, enjoying fruit. But they're packed with sugar. Lots of sugar. And you're taking away the fiber of that fruit, which keeps you full. So you're just getting all that sugar intake. And then let me just mention this little small one, alcohol. So that's another way that we're getting those empty calories of sugar. We're spiking our sugar levels, our blood sugar, adding extra insulin to control it, when we need to be really moderating that sugar level throughout, so that we're not getting those spikes and then crashes and then spikes and then crashes. So look at a way again to level that out in that sugar. Step away from your sweets. Rather grab a piece of fruit if you can. Again, with that fiber, I would go for more berries, higher antioxidant power instead of a banana or an orange. If you're working out, a banana is a great way to get a little bit of glucose in before your workout. So bananas aren't terrible, but they are one of the highest fruits, our highest sugar fruits. So grabbing a piece of fruit instead to help keep you full instead of driving that sugar up and then crashing with those empty sugar calories. If you find yourself at the end of the night, which I have found myself, especially at certain times, wanting a piece of something at the end of the day. So that might mean, and we're about to talk about this as well, I may not be fueling correctly throughout the day. So therefore, I'm craving that sugar, that carb, and I'm going for whatever is closest, that snack machine or whatever, that candy bar. So instead, maybe having a dark chocolate option, or I found some really great teas that are dessert teas. They're not sugary, but they have they're an herbal tea that is not going to keep me up at night, but it's going to satisfy that sugary craving. I know it sounds really weird, but guys, you have to trust me on this. Tazo, I believe, yeah, T-A-Z-O, makes a line of dessert teas, and you can find those really anywhere. Sprouts, also Whole Foods, and then I believe they're at Kroger as well. But that kind of seems to curb that sugar craving, especially at the end of the day. Again, as you start to cut back on your sugar, you're going to notice that you don't crave it as much. It's going to take a while. But you have created this routine, most likely, of having a dessert after a meal, right? You're like, oh, I get the reward, things like that. You got to break that away, because remember, that's extra calories and most likely empty calories that you're adding, and you're feeding your brain. So that brain attachment gets to that sugar and thinks, oh, that's what's coming next. You have to break that cycle. Also, another place to look for sugar is adding. Where are we adding it into my dad would sprinkle sugar over his cereal, which was, Frosted Flakes or something that already had sugar on it, Raisin Bran, and he would sprinkle sugar on top of it. And it was just a habitual thing. But you're like, wow, so you're adding sugar to some cereal that is already packed with sugar. And it blew my mind when I look back as a kid. But that's just something that was habitual. Just like with our coffee, we add that sugar into our coffee. Okay, could we do a little less pumping of the flavor into that coffee we ordered? Or can we take it down a little bit? Can we substitute that sugar? Things like that. So just look at your inventory of sugar, where you are in your diet. And another way of being accountable is by getting MyFitnessPal, things like that, which we'll get to mindfulness, so I won't go too far into that. So that's pretty much it for sugar. Figure out ways that you can tweak that a little bit. And again, it takes a while, just like changing your diet, to make those small changes. But over time, we'll show you a big difference, especially with the sodas. If you're used to having Coke or sodas throughout the day, taking it back little at a time. I'm not saying get rid of it all. Eventually, yes. But taking it down a couple of notches. And eventually remove that soda. Again, it's feeding that caffeine, it's feeding that sugar craving, and it's something that you've got to little by little eliminate, and it will show in the weight loss once you do. All right, carbs. Let me talk about carbs. Carbs are not your enemy. I am not a dietitian. If you would like to speak to a dietitian, 100% recommend it. We could get you set up with that. But carbs, let me just go ahead and address this. It's not the enemy. It is what the carbs are made of. What are your carbs? Are they processed carbs? Bunch of noodles and pasta with thick sauces. Is it white bread, crackers, cookies, cakes, candy, things like that? Carbs are not bad, especially when you're getting the right ones. We need whole grains. Whole grains are great for you. Brown rice, obviously brown instead of white. With the rices, also whole grain, looking for whole foods like fruits, veggies, whole grains, legumes, beans, quinoa, things like that. Carbs are used for brain power. Your brain needs carbs to function. So having them throughout your day, monitoring how much you're having, obviously, but making sure that you're taking inventory of whole foods and less processed. Obviously, there's going to be some processed in our lives. We're not, again, perfect, but trying to be more whole food than anything. A balanced diet is just that, balanced. It doesn't mean that it's all fat and all protein or high protein, this and that. It's balanced between all of them. Obviously, people need a little different for different circumstances on ratios of fat, protein, and carb, and a dietitian could go over that with you. But I just want you guys to know it's not about cutting carbs completely. Again, that's not sustainable, and that is not a lifestyle change. That is a diet, which will eventually end. And another thing, just to let you know, if you are keto or some other form of that, or paleo or whatnot, a lot of times we lose weight, and again, you can't tell, is it lean mass that you're losing, or is it fat mass? It shows differently on the scale, but you could be losing weight, but you could be also damaging that lean mass that you have. Therefore, losing the wrong type of mass that you don't want to get rid of by eating that certain way. And also, sometimes when we do one of those crash course diets, and then we start introducing carbs back into our lifestyle, we start to gain weight. But another reason why we start to gain weight is because carbs need water in order to break down, right? Right. So that's why we have a little more retention of water to break down that carb. So it doesn't mean that carbs are bad. Absolutely not. Please do not get that in your head. You need carbs for brain health. It is a matter of what those carbs are made of. Are they whole food? Try to switch those carbs out for more whole food. Again, less processed. And I'm going to speak, well, here, we're going to go into Whole Foods here. I was ahead of myself. All right, Whole Foods. So this doesn't mean Whole Foods, you have to shop at Whole Foods. No, absolutely not. It means that you are shopping on the outside of the grocery store. Think of the grocery store. What do we have on the outside? We have our fruits, our vegetables. We have our meat in the back. If you're not vegetarian or vegan, you have your meat options in the back. You've got your dairy to the side. One exception is your rice, your whole grains coming into the center. But most of that stuff that is in the center of your grocery store, we've got things that are good until 2025. We've got things that are preserved and added, so many things that ingredient list gets from like a couple of things to, whoa, and I don't even know how to pronounce that ingredient, right? So we want to look at things that are more whole food, like the outskirts of your grocery store, as well as that ingredient list. Is it this big or is it this big? Less processed means it's going to be smaller on your ingredient list. So looking at your nutrition labels, seeing if it is total whole food or not. Feed your body like it is a premium hot rod or sports car that you have. Okay? So if you have that nice vehicle, which is your body, right? You want to take care of that prized possession. So you're going to put that premium, high-quality gas into that car, right, so that it doesn't gunk up the engine and slow it down and have problems over time, right? So just like you treat that hot rod, you have to treat your body that same way. Remember that fuel is impacting at the cellular level, at the functional energy expenditure level, right? So of course what you feed your body is going to in turn over time influence your quality of life, right? When you eat a really junky meal and a really heavy meal, you feel just kind of like weighed down, like, ugh. There's a reason why. Our food directly impacts our body, right? And even more over time. Is that vehicle going to drive you through life efficiently? Or is it going to have some hiccups and some gunk ups and need a lot of maintenance and go to the body shop a lot? Not maybe the body shop, but go to, getting your oil changed more frequently, having engine problems, your heart problems. Okay, so those are the things that we have to take inventory. What we do every day at a small level, that small investment, affects the big goal. If we stop making investments, is that going to grow? Is that going to get us to our goal for our retirement fund? Is it going to get us to our goal of weight loss? No. So you have to constantly be doing those things, whether it is nutrition or whether it is exercise. To eventually get to that goal, we have to be doing the right things. Again, not just to feed us for the day, but to lead us through life with a quality of life that is worth living, right? Without those elements, without cancer, without heart disease, obesity, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, all of those things are directly related to our lifestyle, which is nutrition and exercise. So eating more whole foods. All right, mindfulness. We got 2 last points here. Being mindful. So tune in with your eating. This is something that is very, very kind of recent studies have shown the mindfulness, if we slow down when we eat, so taking 10 minutes instead of 5 minutes, chewing our food, connecting our brain with our stomach and our intestines, noticing that we're full instead of we zoom through, we just eat, disconnected, whatever, oh, this makes me feel good, whatever. You've already ate like so much, plowed through that plate. Being mindful, slowing down your eating, giving time for digestion, taking inventory of your day. Did you eat enough during your day, or did you skip right through lunch? Okay, and now we're overeating at dinner. Like I said, oh, I'm craving something sweet at the end of the night. Maybe I didn't get enough carbs earlier in the day, and that's why I'm famished to get my hands on a carb, which is most likely chocolate or something fast. Why am I really bringing it back to intuitive eating? Also, for people who stress eat, emotional eating is another thing, especially for women. Not even just in certain times of the month, but am I sad? Am I grieving something? Am I stressed? Stress. Okay, we're all stressed. So is that bleeding into the way that I'm eating? Am I overeating? That's what I've been doing this week for me. I have been overeating, okay? It started with Labor Day weekend, and I just really have not gotten it turned around completely yet. But taking inventory of, why am I grabbing this right now? Okay, I need to back away, think about it. Am I hungry? Am I actually hungry? Or am I bored? Or am I stressed? Or whatever emotion it is, and then say, okay, I'm stressed. I'm going to take a walk instead. I'm going to leave that where it is. I'm not even going to buy it. Also, do not go to the grocery store when you're hungry. Please eat a full meal before you go to the grocery store. That's another thing. And then take a walk. Do something else that is healthy, that's going to get your mind off of that boredom, that food, that stress, that sadness, that's going to lift your spirits. Instead of indulging into that those chips, or the cookie, or that cake, that you're like, ooh, this is going to make me feel better. And then you feel, oh, why did I do that? Like, I feel so heavy. I feel so gross. Why did I do that? Especially when I eat a lot of sweets. It is tummy ache for days. So being more intuitive to why are you eating, your emotions, things like that. And then download a food tracker if you like. MyFitnessPal is amazing. We suggest that for many people. Weight Watchers has their own thing, but tracking keeps people more accountable as well, but also keeps people mindful. Where am I overeating? Am I doing a lot of snacks? Because maybe that's leading into overeating. Because we do say little snacks throughout the day, but something that I noticed personally was I was having a little too many snacks, which ended up being over my 1,500 calories. And then I was like, oh, okay, that might have been the problem. So really taking in tune with where are my calories at the end of the day. I don't personally like to track. I like to be more mindful in what I'm eating. So, but that is for you people who like a little more intuitive. And again, you may think that you're eating great, but then when you start tracking just for a couple of days, you realize, okay, that's a problem. My carbs are way too high. My fat's way too high. My sodium, another thing, sodium is way too high. Sugar, it breaks it all down. One thing to notice in MyFitnessPal is their database is not always correct. So make sure that when you do pick a food item that it has it listed with the calories if it doesn't say 0000, because then someone just put it in and didn't put in all the nutrition facts. So one key thing for there. All right, last one is hydration. It's the last one I'm leaving you with. Hydration is very important. Like I said, it breaks down the fiber, and it helps process those carbs, get those carbs going and breaking them down. So make sure that you're drinking enough water. If you're not a big water drinker, adding those little things like lemon or watermelon mint, cucumber, there's so many things that you can make amazing tasting infused water. There's even infused water bottles that you can do all kinds of cool things with. Making sure you're drinking enough water. Our body thrives off of water through digestion, through sweating, through all those things. And you need to make sure that you're getting adequate amounts of water. So another thing people ask, is it 64 ounces? Is it this? I heard this and that. It's really based on your body. What does your output look like? So pretty much your urine color. Is it a pale yellow? Then you're excellent. If it's a bright yellow or orange, we need to add more water. So something I've been tricking myself into every day is I'm so in that habit of having tea or coffee at the beginning of the day. It's my signal for wake up time, I'm going to enjoy my nice coffee, my nice tea, it's warm, and fall's coming, so it's one of those lovely morning routines. But I've been starting to drink at least 8 ounces of water before I start that coffee, that dehydration, that caffeine, because again, caffeine is a diuretic. It's going to make us pee more, and we're going to lose that hydration. So make sure that you are getting enough water throughout your day so that you aren't dehydrated, and try starting that water intake at the very beginning of your day before you have that coffee or tea or whatever else, and then making sure you get enough water throughout the day, not just having the water at the beginning and then forgetting about it. Have a nice water bottle, have a goal. They have water bottles that tell you like you're almost there, you're halfway, things like that. But again, really looking at your output, your urine color, to see where am I actually, my body producing for my hydration levels. So that's pretty much it, guys. That is weight loss basics. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out